welcome back to my channel. This is the Mental Wellness channel with Waihiga. Welcome. Do you know what alcoholism actually really is? Do you really know what alcoholism is? Do you know what it's like to be an alcoholic? I asked this question because the other day I shared my story on Shared Moments with Justice. Thank you so much to Justice and the team for allowing me to come onto your platform and to share my story. But I shared my story there, and a lot of people in the comment section, in the live chat, seemed to not understand what alcoholism really is. And so today I want to talk about alcoholism. Alcoholism is not a moral failing. Alcoholism, becoming an alcoholic, is not a decision that one makes. It's not a choice that one makes. It's not randomly waking up and saying one day, you know what, I think I'm just going to drink to the point of being an alcoholic. Nobody starts drinking thinking that they're going to be an alcoholic. It's not something that we woke up and we decided, you know what, I'm going to put my family through hell and back. I'm going to nearly kill myself with this poison, chasing this poison. I'm going to kill my career, my dreams, my life, my hopes, everything. Just become an alcoholic. That's not what happened. Why I share my stories with people like Shared Moments with Justice and why I shared my story with Lynn Googie is so that we can get to the point in this society where we destigmatize alcoholism, where people who are alcoholics like myself can talk freely and openly about this disease, where we're not ostracized, where we're not maligned, where we're not gossiped about and talked about badly, because we're bringing into focus something that all of you live with in your household. Every single person is touched by alcoholism in one way or another. Whether it's your sibling, whether it's your father, whether it's your mother, whether it's your daughter, whether it's your son, whether it's your cousin, whether it's your grandpa, whether it's your grandma, whether it's your grandchildren, whether it's your aunt, whether it's your uncle. Every single one of us knows an alcoholic. And I realized my viewership on this channel is the people that have been literally touched by alcoholism, where alcoholism has come knocking on your front doors, meaning that you are living with an alcoholic in your household. So the family and the loved ones of alcoholics, I'm seeing more and more here on my channel. And I thank you so much. Welcome to my channel. I want to reason with you. I want to talk to you because I feel so much hurt and so much empathy for you. As an alcoholic, knowing what I put my parents through and what I put my family through, I never knew how serious and how deep and how bad it actually was until I actually started getting your questions and getting to know you guys. And actually, I would sometimes ask my parents these questions because you guys are giving me questions that I've never thought about and I've never been put in the position to think about because you guys are on the other side. You're the caregivers, you're the parents, you're the loved ones of the alcoholic. So because of your questions, it has really given me such an empathetic ear and an empathetic heart towards the loved ones of alcoholics. So I'm assuming you're here in my channel because alcoholism has come knocking on your front door. And that's a hard thing to take. That's a really hard thing to take. Alcoholism is not a pretty disease. So for you as the family who is suffering, we as the alcoholic are also suffering too. First of all, we don't even know we're alcoholics. We're normally the last people to find out that we are alcoholics. You can't tell us that we're alcoholics because we feel that you are judging us. So the best way to talk to an alcoholic is to get another recovering alcoholic to talk to this alcoholic. That's the best way. If you get a non-alcoholic to talk to another alcoholic, it feels like judgment. Why would I get a non-drinker to talk to a drinker? You don't know nothing about drinking. You know nothing. So get an alcoholic to talk to an alcoholic. That's how it works. Alcoholism is a disease. It is a disease of the mind, a disease of the body, a disease of the soul. Encompasses, it takes over everything. It takes over you physically, it takes over you spiritually, it takes over you mentally, it takes over you physiologically, your whole body. It takes over you mentally. It takes over you psychologically. You are constantly obsessing and thinking about the next drink and how you're going to plot to get drunk and how I need money for the next drink. It takes over you spiritually because it fills that God hole that we all have inside of us. We all have a God hole, that place inside of us that tells us we can make it through one more day, we can push through, that motivates us, that takes us to a new high, that elevates us. We have a soul. We're human beings because we have a soul. We have spirit. Alcohol blocks that spirit. It blocks us from the sunlight with God. So when we consume alcohol as alcoholics, it takes the place of God. We live for it, we breathe for it, we die for it, we work for it, we labor for it. We think of nothing but that drink. That's the honest truth. Alcohol became our master, and it happened in such an insidious way. It happened in such an insidious way. In the beginning, our drinking was to have fun, like everyone else. It was a social drink. We had fun like everybody else. And then it became more dependency and more dependency. In the beginning, we drank socially, but we also liked what alcohol did for us. It made us feel better. It was our medicine for our depression. Most of us alcoholics have depression and anxiety. Most of us alcoholics probably have bipolar type 2. Well, not type 1 or I wouldn't say type 2. Most of us alcoholics have bipolar or depression. I just see the correlation. It started off as a social drink. We felt good about ourselves. I felt like the real Waihiga could come out to play. I felt like I could command a room, like I could speak freely, like I was in charge. I was in charge of my emotions. I could dictate my happiness. I could dictate what I did, what I ate, who I was with, and I just lit up a room. That's the power that alcohol gave me in the beginning. And in the beginning, this is the progression of alcoholism, because remember, alcoholism is a progressive disease. It starts off small, but it ends up really big, and it continues. Even though I'm 5 years and 6 months not having had a drink, this disease of alcoholism is still in me, and it's still progressing. Even though I'm not drinking, it is still progressing. In the beginning, with alcohol, our love story, it was just fun. Then it became alcohol with some problems. Every time I drink, there's some problems. At the end, it was every time I drink, it was always problems. That's how it progresses. Alcohol is so elusive. In the beginning, every time I would drink, it was just fun. Then it became just fun with problems. Then it became all problems. Every time I picked up a drink. And my whole alcoholic career was chasing that just fun years. That's all I was trying to do, to chase those just fun years. So sometimes when I go through the comment section or I see people saying that, I understand that alcoholism is a disease, but why couldn't you control your drinking? The element of alcoholism is a disease is that we have lost control over our drinking. Just because you can control your drinking doesn't mean every single person who drinks can control their drinking. That's where alcoholism comes in. Unlike you who are a normal drinker or a social drinker or probably a problem drinker, you can take or leave alcohol. You can do that, right? I can't do that as an alcoholic. Once I've ingested a sip of alcohol or any amount of alcohol, I cannot stop by myself. It's a constant back to back to back to back. I can't stop on my own volition. I can't stop. I am literally like an animal, uncaged, and I will have to be stopped. So because normal drinkers see and are able to stop drinking by themselves, they think that an alcoholic is able to stop. Why don't you just stop? Just stop. You're ruining your life. You don't understand that this thing is my medicine. And second of all, as an alcoholic, I'm allergic to alcohol. But the problem with having that allergy, a normal person would say, if I'm allergic to something, then I should just stop taking it, right? Not so with the alcoholic. Once we start drinking, we can't stop. Because we have first the physical dependency, second, the mental obsession, and we also have the cravings, which are very hard to get rid of. I mean, it has to be divine intervention through working the 12 steps of a 12-step program, or divine intervention, through your higher power, through God. Through God. It will take the hand of God to remove those cravings from you. And it can be done because He removed mine and they haven't come back. Thank God. So if you're told to stop taking something because you're allergic to it, a normal person would stop taking it. With alcoholics and alcohol, it's not the same thing. Once we start drinking, we can't stop. We just can't stop. We have to be stopped. The mental obsession, you wake up and you're constantly thinking about drinking. I can't tell you how agonizing that is. It is pure torture. Because if you're sober, yet your mind is telling you just drink, just drink, just drink. Just one, just a sip. Just one, just a sip. You need this. We need this. Over and over and over again. It's really hard to fight that off. So eventually, even though you've tried for 10 days, you've tried for 5 days, you've tried for 17 days, you've tried for a month, you've really tried. We call it white knuckling. You've held on with all your might. You've held on, you've really tried to stay sober. Eventually and inevitably, you find yourself sitting in a bar, drinking and pounding the bar stool like this. Wondering, how did I get here again? I thought we stopped. I think deep inside every alcoholic, we know that we are alcoholics. And I think that we know that we have a problem. It's too hard of a truth to face. Because if we recognize that we have a problem, then that means that we have to change. And most of us aren't ready for change at that point. So sitting in a bar and lamenting over the fact that I'm an alcoholic would really spoil my high. I'm trying to think back when I was drinking. If I ever thought to myself at a bar, oh my gosh, I think I have a serious drinking problem. Never. I never did that. That is so scary. I never did that. I mean, I don't know if we lack self-awareness or it's a defense mechanism of denial. But I never seriously sat down with myself after the 10th beer or, really drunk and thought to myself, I think we have an alcohol problem, It was never alcohol. Alcohol was never the problem. Everything else around me was the problem. My education was the problem. School was the problem. My family was the problem. This damn bar was the problem, but never the alcohol. These are the facts about alcoholism. Alcoholism is a disease. It's a disease of the mind, the body, and the soul. Alcoholism is a disease that makes you physically, psychologically, mentally, spiritually dependent upon alcohol. Alcoholism, or being an alcoholic, is not a moral failing, and it's not a decision that one makes. Alcoholism, nobody ever sat down, ever sat down in a chair once, or no child ever went to school and sat in front of the class and said, when I grow up, I want to be an alcoholic. I was once watching a true crime documentary about Charles Manson. I was watching the women who were in, his under his following. And there's one thing that one of the women said that really caught my attention. And she said, nobody ever joins a cult. I mean, it's the same thing with alcoholism. Nobody starts drinking thinking they're going to be an alcoholic. When you started drinking, did you think you were going to become an alcoholic? I'm sure you're not an alcoholic. And if you are an alcoholic, did you think you would become an alcoholic? And if you're not an alcoholic, are you happy that you're not an alcoholic? I mean, it's kind of like you pick up the draw of a really bad lottery. But I'm actually grateful to be an alcoholic because it's given me a good life, a life of meaning, a life of fulfillment, where I'm able to talk to you guys and I'm able to help others in such a intimate and unique way. I'm speaking a language that not many would understand. Like, you have to walk the path of alcoholism. You really have to walk it. You can't get a degree in addiction counseling. Okay, you can. You can. You can get a degree in it. Go to Johns Hopkins and all of that. Nobody can give you the experience of being an alcoholic. You kind of have to live it. And many of us die before getting sober. And I think it's an honor that God chose me to be one of the voices for this disease. It's an absolute honor. Because the things we go through out there, the things that we put ourselves through, the things that this disease takes us through out there in the world, especially as women, alcoholics, it's brutal. It's brutal. And it's only by God's grace that I'm alive. It's only by God's grace that I am alive. And I'm able to tell you about this, about my experience, my strength, and my hope, and where it came from. It came from God. So let's not judge our fellow alcoholics and addicts. Let's not judge each other. I understand as the family members, as the loved ones, as the friends of alcoholics, you can be very angry with us. You can want to shake it in us. Why don't you get it? You're killing yourself. But I often say this, and I've heard this so many times in 12-step programs, and it's so true. An alcoholic is probably the last person to know that they're an alcoholic. I always tell an alcoholic, but you can't tell them much, is another one. Because we know it all. We know it all. We know it all. We know it all. So those are a few facts that I just wanted to share about alcoholism. Probably the last thing I'll say. Where did alcoholism come from? What gets to decide who's an alcoholic and who isn't? I tried looking for that question. I really tried digging. The answers are very contradictory, in my opinion. Some people say it's a case of genetics. Some people say it's a case of environment. Some people say it's a case of nature versus nurture. That's the argument. It's how you were brought up. It's how you were socialized. Other people say it's your genetic makeup. Personally, at this point, I don't care. All I know is I have the disease of alcoholism. Because if I'm trying to find the origin of where my alcoholism came from, how will it change my condition? I know that it will feed my ego and it will give me a right to blame someone for my alcoholism. Well, if it's your genes that made me an alcoholic, or it's the way you raised me that made me an alcoholic, who does that help? It doesn't help anyone. I believe there are no factors really that make an alcoholic. We really come from all sorts of backgrounds, socio-economic backgrounds. We come from different careers. We come from different ages, races. We come from both male and female. We're so many female alcoholics out here. It's crazy. We are so many female alcoholics. It's crazy. Black, white, Asian. We are so many from different ages. You can be as young as however you want to be, to as old as whoever you want to be. You can be a doctor, you can be a psychiatrist. I've seen it all. This disease does not discriminate. If it's one thing about alcoholism, it does not discriminate. Priests have this disease. Pastors have this disease. Psychiatrists and doctors, medical doctors have this disease. It does not discriminate against anyone. Those people you think should know better, are educated so well, have so much money, they shouldn't be an alcoholic. Yeah, well, everybody gets it. It does not discriminate. Searching for the origins of this disease, I don't think helps anyone, because I feel like you're finding someone to blame. And the problem is, you're already here. You're already an alcoholic. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to spend the next 50 years blaming your parents' genetics? Are you going to spend the next 50 years blaming the fact that your parents didn't socialize you well according to whatever? You really can't blame alcoholism on external factors. This is an internal disease. So I look forward to hearing your comments below. Please subscribe and please hit that notification bell so every time I upload a video, you will be notified. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Welcome to my new subscribers. Take a good look around the Mental Wellness channel with Waihiga. Until next time, bye-bye guys.